Hello and welcome to Conservative to America. I'm your host, Cole Holcomb. And today we have a slew of information and news stories to go through. So, Senate Republicans threaten to go nuclear. Under normal circumstances, changing the rules in the Senate would require 67 votes, meaning that Senate Democrats would have to be on board with a change. However, there is a path that lawmakers refer to as the nuclear option, which allows for rules changes to only need a simple majority. What are Republicans right now trying to do? They're trying to see how they can get Trump's nominees passed through after Schumer and the Democrats held them up and are playing their little 67 vote majority game. So there's a political will among Republicans to change the rules, but doing so would open the door for Senate Democrats to do the same when they get into power once more. That's why it's called the nuclear option. Because whenever you drop a nuclear bomb, there is, especially not modern nuclear bombs, they will affect you too. Because they're giant and they have a massive radioactive fields. Anyways, same thing happens with this. It will affect Republicans too whenever Democrats get back in power. Quoting Senator Mark Guatemalan, I think that way is going to happen anyways because of what Senator Schumer has done. He's forced this, and it's ridiculous that he's doing this, Senator Mark Guatemalan, Republican Oklahoma, said. And so, whatever we're at this point, and we'll do, what they say. Every action requires an equal reaction. And that's what we're at right now. Some of the options on the table include shortening the debate time for nominees, getting rid of procedural votes for some lower level nominees, grouping certain civilian nominees in blocks, something this is already done for military nominees, and at committee level, deciding whether to lower the number of nominees subject to confirmation process. As to when lawmakers will try to run with a rules change is still in the air. Now, the Senate is gone from Washington until early September, will return to a looming deadline to avert a partial government shutdown in September. So, anyways, very interesting. Democrats, they always try to screw something up. Always try to screw something up. There was a quote, I can't remember who said it, but it was the point that the Democrats, in this sense, are the storm. They're the storm. And Republicans are the captains trying to steer the boat, which is America, through the storm. So Republicans are kind of the sail, and the Democrats are the storm. The Republicans keep us on track, and the Democrats try to tear us apart. Well, anyways, in this, honestly, my opinion on it is right now. It's very mild. I don't know what it is just yet because it's kind of a double negative. It's like if we don't fix it, then nothing gets done. If we fix it, though, then Democrats can go through and they can hurt our nation again. But there's this other idea, too, that Republicans are considering where they only do this on certain groups of nominees, which might be easier than doing it on all nominees. So, guys like Secretary of State, Secretary of Education, Secretary of Commerce, all that garbage, all that stuff. Not garbage, but all that stuff. Anyways, so that's an option. But currently, right now, the main option that they're looking at is that 67 vote thing. So it's very big. We'll continue to follow that here on Conservative to America. Illinois Democrat says she is proud to be a Guatemalan before being proud to be an American. Democrat Representative Ramirez, Delia Ramires of Illinois, was widely criticized on social media this week over a clip where she said her pride as a Guatemalan comes before her pride of being an American. Some of the more extremist people have said that her citizenship needs to be revoked for this. I don't necessarily go on that because it's America. Say what you want. That's what we believe as conservatives. You can say what you want. You can believe what you want. And at the end of the day, I don't have to like what you say, but I can say something about it and I can trash you for it. But you don't have to like what I say, but we can both say it. But we can't go around telling each other that you can't say it. That's the thing. But anyways, this is insane that a congressman, a representative, would say that. That is insane that happens in this country. It really shows the spirit of the Democratic Party not to put America first, but to put themselves first, but to put other countries first. They always got a handout for somebody else, but never for the American working man. Because guess what? That's what Democrats do. They're here to hurt America. They're here to make this country, frankly, a worse place that looks more like China and North Korea. That's what they do. Um, all I've got to say on the matter is, this is a warning. Don't vote for Democrats in 26, because guess what happens whenever you vote for Democrats in 26? Then you get a bunch of bullcrap people like Representative Delia Ramires, who are serving you. Now, she said this at the Pan American or something like, I don't even know what it's called. Some type of thing that they do in Mexico City for all these um, Central American people. It's like a Central American Congress, and I'm like, why is she doing this? She's from the United States of America. She's living in America. She lives in Illinois. So, I mean, like, she shouldn't be going down and doing all this stuff in Central America for their Congress. She doesn't even live down there. She doesn't know what they're facing anymore. So, I mean, like, lay off, dude. Lay off. Lay off, girl. Lay off. Okay? All I've got to say on that. All I've got to say. It makes me angry. This makes me angry whenever I read things like this. It makes me infuriated. So, let's move on. Trump signs an executive order. So Trump signed an executive order Tuesday that created a White House Olympic task force for security purposes and other issues ahead of the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles. Why? Because we all know when given the chance, California tries to make things more Chinese and screw them up. We saw this whenever the Chinese dictator, communist dictator, Xi Jinping, the communist dictator who wants to kill Christians, Muslims, and Jews to have his, for lack of a better term, for his tyrannical reign to succeed. He kills people who are for free speech. China is not a friend of the United States. They're not a friend of the human race. They're not a friend of God. They're not a friend of Christians. I urge this to everyone. China is evil. They are one of the most evil, and it's not the Chinese people. I'm not going after the Chinese people right here. I'm going after China. If you don't believe me, read 10 Things You Can't Say About China by Senator Tom Cotton. Wonderful book, easy, quick read, about 150 pages. Wonderful book. It'll tell you all these terrible things about China. China is America's biggest threat, and it's for a good reason, and we must stand up and say no more to China. Why? Why must we say no more to China? Because they look to seek our demise, and once they can get our demise to happen, then guess what? We'll all be ruled by China. And you know what happens when everybody gets ruled by China? Things go to hell in a handbasket. Okay? China is, and I will say it again and again, China is the enemy, not just the enemy of the United States, the enemy of the world, the enemy of the human race, the enemy of Christians, the enemy of Jews, the enemy of Muslims. It's the enemy of everyone who is not for dictatorship rule ran by dictator Xi Jinping and refuses to bow down to the Mao Zedong order of things. But back to the Olympic Games and Trump signing that task force, it'll have guys like J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, and Pam Bondi on it for the task force for security purposes and other issues to help out Los Angeles and have it prepared. So that'll be good. It'll keep Los Angeles safe, and it'll be a good place for America to kick everybody's butt. Okay? Nah. American pride. That's what I'm talking about. Woo! American pride. American pride. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on. What everybody tuned onto this show for, I imagine, was Texas Democrats flee Texas. Okay, President Trump warns that FBI might have to get involved. California is now threatening to redistrict GOP seats. That's another big thing that just came out about 3 hours ago. We're filming the show right now around 8 o'clock. So that came out 3 hours ago that California is now threatening to redistrict on 5 GOP seats. Problem is, California's almost gerrymandered the crap out of their state. We can't gerrymander it anymore. Texas Democrats lead to states like Illinois and New York, 2 of the most gerrymandered states in the nation. It's like going to Wisconsin to protest cheese. And then the biggest story of it all, Governor Greg Abbott orders the arrest of Texas Democrats who fled the state by the Texas state police the moment that they enter state lines, and then by Texas Rangers. He has said to check into them on bribery. And Donald Trump says that he might get the FBI involved in order to bring them back home to get the job done. And of course, there has been the thing taken the before a judge right now to evict them from their office that states that they have forfeited their office. Guess what? It's all legal. It's all legal. Democrats knew what would happen. They played this game 2 years ago. And guess what? They pull it again, or maybe it's 3 years ago that they played this game, 3 or 4 years ago, 2 to 4 years ago, we're going to say. But anyways, they played this game. And now today, their little game that they play is coming back to bite them in the butt. So let's go ahead and watch this video, because man, does it make me happy to see the gavel come down and the swift hand of American justice to be served.
The chair recognizes Mr. Guerin for another motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Mr. Speaker, I move that the Sergeant at Arms or officers appointed by her send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purpose of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary, and this order to be continued beyond the adjournment of today's session and until the further order of the House.
Members, you've heard the motion. This is a record vote. Clerk, ring the bell. Mr. Guerin voting aye. Being 85 ayes and 6 nays, the motion prevails. The Sergeant at Arms and any officers appointed by her are directed to send for all absentees whose attendance is not excused for the purposes of securing and maintaining their attendance under warrant of arrest if necessary until further order of the House.
Makes me happy every time to see that video take place. It's the swift hand of American justice coming down. The Democrats are learning they can't play their little shenanigans anymore, because guess what? They don't work. Hopefully in the coming days, we will see them get arrested by the FBI, by other groups such as the Texas State Police. But most of all, I hope that the job can finally get done in Texas, where they can get back to work in their state house. We will continue to follow this. This is probably one of the biggest stories in many years of Democratic defiance. They think this makes them more likable to the voter, but in reality, it just shows them as weak. They send out their thing, come and get it after being called non-Texans. Well, guess what? The Texan spirit is to stay and stand up to the fight. They're saying, come and get it. No, they're not fighting anymore. They're just sitting in a hotel that's paid for by the state of Illinois and getting all this free food and hotel rooms. Everybody loves a nice vacation. That's exactly what they're getting, is a nice free paid vacation, calling themselves martyrs, whenever in reality, they are not. They are just lingering and feasting on the demise of America and the state of Texas. This is all we have today on Conservative to America. We hope to see you tomorrow, and have a good night. Stay safe. Thanks.